All right, it's time. It's finally here. Today begins week one of the NFL season for 2020, and we begin with a Thursday night matchup tonight with the Texans and the Chiefs. So I wanted to get this video out before that game goes live. And we're going to do this every Thursday where I pick all of the NFL games. You see them all up here on the board. This didn't quite work out the way that I wanted it to. I ended up running out of bigger magnets, so that's why the Monday night games here are down with the smaller ones. So plus, I'm probably going to want to write some other stuff on the board. But for today, this is how we're going to do it. Things usually change around here after I figure things out with formats and whatnot. And as you've probably seen if you've been paying attention to some of the other video series. But the whole point of this is just to go through, give you all of my picks for the week. And then you can let me know whether or not you agree or disagree in the comments below. And I will do the best to explain myself as always. So without further ado, let's begin with the opening night matchup. Amazing that kickoff is actually here and we're going to get an NFL season, at least for now. So let's just be thankful for that. So beginning with the Texans and the Chiefs. Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champions. The Texans I've been downplaying a little bit for this season, leading up to it anyway. I think they're probably going to be due for a down year. Not saying that it's going to be catastrophic, but just probably not up to what people are used to, with their traditional first or second place finish within the division. I think the Chiefs are probably, it's pretty much the same team as last year. They got Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round of the draft. A lot of people expect him to be a integral part of this offense. There's some comparison to be made between this opening night and the opening night 3 years ago between the Chiefs and the Patriots, where Kareem Hunt broke out, the rookie running back, and now we're in that similar situation. The only difference is we have Pat Mahomes instead of Alex Smith this year. So I'm going to go with, for the first one, I'm going to go with the Chiefs as the winner in this matchup. I still believe in the world in Deshaun Watson. His wide receivers have some injury history. Brandon Cooks is banged up right now. At least that's the last what I heard in camp. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs for the opening night win tonight. Moving on to the Falcons and Seahawks. This one's a little bit more evenly matched, but what I'm going to be focusing on this one is in the trenches, mainly the Seattle pass rush versus the Atlanta offensive line. The offensive line for Atlanta should be good. The pass rush for Seattle, questionable at best. We don't even know if they're going to be able to produce a pass rush with this group of players on the defensive line. So I believe that trumps everything. I think Matt Ryan's going to have enough time to pick apart the defense. Jamal Adams be damned, with Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Hayden Hurst, and then Todd Gurley out of the backfield. So I'm going to go with the Falcons for this one, and that is my pick for that game. Russell Wilson's going to have to work some magic if he wants to win that one, in my opinion. Next, we have the Bills and the Jets. I really don't need to spend too much time on this one. I think this is the Bills all the way. The Bills are also my pick this year for the Survivor Pool, or at least this week, not this year, but this week. Bills are my pick for the Survivor Pool. I don't believe the Jets are going to amount to much of anything, and if they do, it would surprise me. They probably win 2, 3, 4 games this year. Adam Gase is a terrible coach. I'm going to be talking like that until he gets fired, which is probably going to happen. I don't think there's enough here for Sam Darnold to be productive. He's really going to have to target Jamison Crowder and Chris Herndon really heavily. So I'm going to go with the Bills. The Bills, with that defense against this offense that is questionable at best, sounds like an easy win. Next, we have the Lions and Bears. Trubisky is going to be the starter. Matt Stafford is going to be healthy this year, at least let's all hope. People are expecting big things out of Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones. They just signed Adrian Peterson off the street after he was cut by the Washington football team. So we're going to have a running back by committee in Detroit. David Montgomery is probably not going to play this game. That's still up in the air. The defense, I don't know if Matt Nagy is as good of a head coach as we have been led to believe after that first 12-4 season. I think a lot of that had to do with Vic Fangio being the defensive coordinator and this defense just tearing things up with Khalil Mack. So for this first matchup, I'm going to go with the Lions. I think that is the choice of this one. Moving on, continuing with the NFC North. We've got the Vikings and the Packers. Vikings at home to open the Packers for the first time since I can remember. And with the Packers this year, like I said, I think they caught lightning in a bottle last year. And I don't think the Vikings got better. I don't think any team in the NFC North got better, if you will, this past offseason. The Vikings being one of them. Justin Jefferson being listed as wide receiver 3 on the unofficial depth chart is kind of scary. That means you got B.C. Johnson and Adam Thielen will be the 2 primary wide receivers playing. Yes, they only really do 2 tight end sets with 2 wide receivers. They don't really use a wide receiver 3 all that much unless they're playing from behind. But at the same time, I think this could be a run-dominated game, or I could be completely wrong, and Aaron Rodgers just comes out and has the revenge statement game that he's been dying to make ever since they drafted Jordan Love. But I'm gonna bet against that. I'm gonna bet against Aaron Rodgers for the first time in a long time. I'm not making a homer pick. I'm just going with my instinct here. I'm gonna take the Vikings to win Week 1. Next is the Patriots and Dolphins. This is a new era for this rivalry. Tom Brady is gone. So we're going to find out this season what Bill Belichick is made of. Now, I've been talking down the Patriots a little bit this year, or this offseason, because I'm not too enamored with the depth chart, if you will. They got a great secondary. Cam Newton is good. The platoon at running backs is worrisome. Julian Edelman's getting up there in age. Their tight ends are completely inexperienced, having drafted two, and Ossie and Keene this past draft. But I still think the Patriots are the better team in this matchup, and I still think that Cam Newton can produce if he is healthy, and he can sort of, tap into that MVP season he had, or even the couple seasons after that, because he has done pretty good with not a lot of talent around him. Christian McCaffrey hasn't always been in Carolina, so I'm going to take the Patriots in Week 1 to start off 1-0 against the Dolphins, and I feel confident with that. Next, I'm going to go with an upset here. I'm going to go with the Washington football team. I don't have a football team magnet, so excuse the Redskins magnet. But the Eagles are already banged up. Jalen Reagor dealing with a soft tissue injury with the labrum. I don't see. Darius Slay is a great addition. Hargrave is a great addition. The defense should be fine, but I think Ron Rivera, who I totally believe in, is going to make some noise this year, and it's not going to be as bad as I think people are predicting with this Washington football team. They have questions at wide receiver. They're going to be throwing out an undrafted. I think he was undrafted. Was he? No, he was drafted. Antonio Gibson. I'm thinking of somebody else, but they're going to be throwing out Antonio Gibson as their running back, who only had 33 carries in college. There's some big time questions about this team as a whole, but I think Ron Rivera is just the man for the job. So I'm going to go with an upset there. Next, moving on, I guess this is another upset because of how young they are, how bad the defense is probably going to be this year, because Matt Rule has a lot of time where he can get this right, with that 7-year contract right off the bat. The Raiders are going to be throwing out 2 rookie wide receivers to start the season after the Tyrell Williams injury. They still have Josh Jacobs. The defense should be good. I think this is more evenly matched than people think, with the edge going to the Raiders on defense, but the offense for the Panthers should be pretty good with DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, and Teddy Bridgewater is a very serviceable quarterback. So I'm going to go with another upset here, I think. I'm going to go with the Panthers. Moving on, next pick is between the Colts and the Jaguars. Again, I don't need to say much about this one. This one's pretty easy. I'm going with the Colts. I think for the survivor pool, I'm going to probably pick against the Jets and Jaguars a lot this year when and where applicable. The Jaguars should still be a fun team, playing from behind with Gardner Minshew, DJ Chark. No idea who's going to be the running back. Is it going to be James Robinson, the undrafted free agent? They just signed the guy that was recently cut by Tampa Bay. Armstead and Ozigbo are both on COVID-19 lists right now, so we probably won't see them for a while. The running situation is scary, but it's a passing league, and Minshew and DJ Chark, Dede Westbrook, Chris Conley are pretty good at doing that. So the Jaguars should be in the game, but they're going to be playing from behind. The Colts, I think, are just too good. I think they're going to be too much for the Jaguars in Week 1. Moving on to the Ravens and Browns, there's a lot to be optimistic this year about the Browns. We've already talked about that at length with Kevin Stefanski coming in and taking over this offense and trying to make them the AFC North version of the Vikings, and you're going to see that a lot with the 2 tight end sets with Austin Hooper, David Njoku, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr. being the primary pass catchers, and then Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, who they just extended this past week. So I think the offense is going to be good. Baker Mayfield should do a lot better in this system. The question is just going to be the defense, especially the back 7. How well are they going to perform? They don't have a lot of linebackers. The secondary is already banged up with the loss of Grant Delpit. Yes, they did get Harrison in the trade, but how well are they going to gel here for this first game? So I think the Ravens are probably just too much for the Browns to handle in Week 1. And there's going to be some growing pains. The Browns are going to start off a little bit slow this season. So I'm going to go with the Ravens in Week 1. Next, we have the Chargers and the Bengals. Again, this one's probably closer than I think people are going to want to admit, but the defense and the talent overall on the Chargers is better than the Bengals, especially on defense, who have completely retooled their secondary with Vikings castaways. Yes, Geno Atkins is still here. Mixon, AJ Green says he's healthy and ready to go. Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, John Ross are all, potential to be good, but the Chargers have a lot of, not waiting for that potential to be unlocked. It's already unlocked for the Chargers. So I'm going to go with them. Tyrod Taylor's going to get his first win as a member of the Chargers against the Bengals. Next, the Saints and the Bucks. Everybody's looking at this to be the marquee matchup, but the situation arises with the Mike Evans injury right now. He has the hamstring that he's dealing with, and I believe Bruce Arians said he might be a game day decision. And even if he isn't, Mike Evans has struggled against the Saints defense in recent years, and that would leave you with Chris Godwin and whoever else they can throw out there, wide receiver. I don't know. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might be a little bit overhyped. I think the defense is going to be better than what it was last year, but I think the Saints are on a mission, and they're on a mission to get Drew Brees another Super Bowl before he retires. So I'm going to go with the Saints winning their first game in what should be a real slobber knocker, if you will. Next, we have the 49ers and Cardinals, and I've been talking up the 49ers, or not the 49ers, I've been talking up the Cardinals a lot in this offseason, especially in recent weeks. So I think it's time to put the money where the mouth is, and I'm going to go with the Cardinals in an upset over the 49ers in week 1. And, I think the 49ers are going to be fine. Defense should be solid. The running game should be great. Kyle Shanahan is a really good head coach. It's just if they need to rely on or call on Jimmy Garoppolo to win them a game, I don't think he can do it, especially with this banged up wide receiver unit. So really it's going to depend on who can jump out to the lead first. If they can get the 49ers away from that running game and force them to throw the football, the Cardinals definitely have an edge. Moving on to the next game, we have the Cowboys and the Rams. This features a pretty good matchup with Jalen Ramsey and Amari Cooper. I'm going to give the edge to the Cowboys because I believe that this depth chart is more well-rounded than the Rams. The Rams have a lot of questionable unknowns. What are they going to do at running back? Malcolm Brown is the starter for this week with Darrell Henderson and having injury setbacks, and Cam Akers, I guess, is not ready. They have a lot of great weapons in the passing game. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee, Van Jefferson has looked great in camp. It just depends on how well they can shut down the Cowboys offense. And with Jalen Ramsey, that should be pretty good. But I still believe that the Cowboys are probably going to be able to pull this off. Mike McCarthy has kept a lot of his new stuff pretty close to the vest, so I think he's going to surprise a lot of people and go all out in week 1. Moving on to the Monday night games, I ran out of the big magnets, so I went with the little ones here, so they're going to be a little bit harder to see, but that's okay. Steelers and Giants, I don't think this is really up for debate. I think the Steelers win this game easily. The Giants don't look like they have a good defense this year. I don't know if Daniel Jones and company can put up enough points to be competitive for most of the season. That remains to be seen. And there is the question of whether or not they're going to be able to do anything against this really, really good defense. So I think the Steelers win this one, and they win it handily. Probably not one of those 19-15 scores. I think this offense is going to be explosive this year. With the Titans and Broncos, RIP Broncos defense with the loss of Von Miller. I don't know how you're going to stop pretty much anything going forward, and there's really nothing you're going to be able to do about Derrick Henry. As I say this, I'm probably going to eat my words, but at the same time, I think the Titans are too good offensively and defensively. Drew Lock is going to have to prove himself this year, and he's going to have to prove himself in week 1 because I think they're going to be playing from behind. So I'm going to go with the Titans to wrap out the week 1 picks. And there you go. That is the board. Those are who I believe are going to win this week's games. Check in on Monday for the review to see how we did, and I'll see you in the next one.